What is up, guys? I am O, and I'm sitting here with JP, Cam, Wilson.
What's going on?
We are the Shepherds of Men, man. This week, I want to talk about how fatherhood really does equal leadership. We're going to talk about really what the difference is, how much time guys in general spend on sharpening their skills with leadership, more so really than we do fatherhood. We have 9 months to prepare, man, but how much preparation do we really put into that, or are we learning on the fly? And how effective is that? So I really want to bring, there may be a little accountability, I think, but I think, new dads will be really good for us. I think all four of us can speak from experience, so we're looking to help out there as best we can. No, we're not perfect dads, but we have learned from some of our failures, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Leading our families from the front, side, and rear, and how effective those are, just like they are in the workplace, or how ineffective they are. And we'll talk about different ways we can actually coach, like we would at work, and how effective that really can be when speaking with your kids from a self-discovery standpoint. So we are pumped to be back around the table. It feels like forever.
It does.
It's because we went like a couple weeks in a row, and then we went 2 weeks without, or something like that.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you.
I was at the beach.
Yeah, you were back.
Yeah,
How was that?
beach time.
It was fantastic, and I love you guys, but I was glad to be at the beach.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
What? It was awesome. St. George Island, man. Dude, I'm telling you, it's the first time I've been there. I will be back.
Just rub it in.
Got some good time with the family. Good
It was
getaway.
literally like it's called St. George Plantation, so they get a plug for free. There was nobody on the beach. Like the beach part of it is only the people that are staying in the plantation. So we're there for 4 days. There was 2 other families that we saw out there the whole time. And I was like, why is there nobody here? It's still July. And then we go into town and go to the restaurant that's on the beach, and it's there's people everywhere on the beach. I'm like, oh, that's right, yeah. There's just nobody back there. So it was awesome. There was a little pool, trails. I ran a few mornings while I was down there, caught the sunrise on these trails that are paved all through the neighborhood and everything. It was sweet, man. It was a perfect relax. It was the total opposite of going to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
It was the total opposite of that.
You didn't end up on CNN.
That's true.
Right?
Not yet.
Not that you know of yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
I doubt St. George Island's gonna be on CNN.
We've kind of run our course.
There's
with
no
that
leads. There's no leads there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to Orange Beach end of this month.
Oh yeah.
And I already told
nice.
Candy, I was like, I really don't. I was like, think of what is the most stressful part of vacation for you? And she's like, eating out.
Really? Oh,
Well,
because
you
she's
wait in the line
yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, I agree. I said, so here's what we're gonna do. We'll pack PB&J, stuff like that. We'll just bring with us because it's gonna be like $20 for a jar of PB, and J or whatever at the Publix down there. So I told her, I was like, we'll bring some of the snacks and stuff like that. We can at least to get us started. I said, but as soon as we get down there, I'm hitting a fish market.
Oh yeah.
I said, I'm gonna cook every single night we're there.
Yeah.
And Danny, Danny's a phenomenal cook too, and that's what we're going with. And I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you get to stay at the house the whole time or be on the beach all day and not have to worry about going home, getting ready, and all that kind of stuff. Dude, we'll come in, we'll go slum it, and we're not going to worry about it. And plus, we don't have to worry about going out and dealing with tourism, nothing like that. We stay on the beach, and we're staying like right on the beach, stone's throw, walk out, do our thing, come back.
So we ate out twice the whole time. And then we bought groceries, did all that kind of stuff, and it was awesome because we had our 3 boys, and then our oldest boy brought a friend. So you got 4 kids. You got my mother-in-law, the 2 of us, the dog. It was just, it's an ordeal to go out for sure. And so
Well,
2
it's gonna be
times
8
we
of
ate
us.
out. Oh yeah.
It's gonna be 8. There'll be 8 of us, and we got 2 kids. 3 of them are young, and I'm like, I'm good. We'll just cook at home, man. We can have the same quality meals if we do it right.
Yep, for sure.
So
sure.
we've been doing some kind of fish dishes here, and of course they've been
Fish dish?
pretty minimum to follow the diet and whatnot. But on vacation, I just gotta be careful so I don't start over again.
Like a fish pizza.
So yeah. So I told you guys last time that was gonna be starting 75 hard. I believe I announced that on the podcast or whatever. It took me 1 day, and I could not beat pizza. So I know Andy Frisella struggled with French fries. That was his big thing. I could not. Marco's Pizza, man. God dang it. Free plug, right? Free negative plug. Appreciate
Your
you guys.
pizza's so good.
Yeah.
It's negative.
Thanks for having delicious pizza, you jerks. So, yeah, but the fish and the chicken, I've learned how to kind of make that where it's bearable and still fits the whole diet. So it's been good. Veggies have been dude, I love squash, like cucumber squash, like that kind of mixture. We're doing all day. So
Good stuff.
cauliflower crust type stuff like that. Cauliflower mashed potatoes. I can eat a lot of those. We can slam it down. So, and I've learned how to make.
Add that with barbecue.
Well, I mean, can't really have it sugar and barbecue, so I'm trying to.
No, you can do sugar-free, sugar-free barbecue.
Yeah, that's not barbecue.
I was gonna say, what did you just say?
I've done it, and it
sodium
tastes
sauce.
good.
Everybody in Memphis is rolling over in their grave right
yeah.
now.
It's actually it is good. It is good.
I've tried your sugar-free ketchup, and that is borderline communist.
I mean, yeah, but if you're looking to sugar-free your life, you got to do what you got to do.
So I really would like to do like keto for the first, really 10 days, first week, 7 to 10 days, whatever it is it being. And so I can use like really, very, very minimal to zero carbs. And then after that, I'd like the carb cycle. So after looking into things, like carb cycling seems to be pretty dope. And I'm gonna put a fast into it. So my thing right now that I'm trying to do before I start 75 hard officially again is get my schedule right, because I'm taking over some different parts of the state. So I'm on the road a lot. So I want to make sure if I'm gonna do a fast element to it, that I can fit it in the right part of the day. Mm-hmm. So when I started 75 hard, I was eating later at night. So my last meal of the night would be at 11, and then I wouldn't eat again until 1 p.m. And it was just a shake, post-workout shake. So I'd wake up, do my fasted workout, 2 miles. My whole first week's all cardio, 2 miles in the morning, 2 miles at night. And hell, the last one I did, I had Eric on my shoulders for the last mile. Just died. It's like, I'm tired, Dad. I'm like, you should have come. Dang it.
Now I can't send you back. I'm a mile from the house.
Yeah. Candy's with me, and she's like, I'm tired too. I was like,
Eric's carrying you.
But, yeah, exactly. Eric, put mommy on your shoulders. But I tell you what, man, it's, that I woke up, I finished that day feeling like a king, because you're like, hell yeah, checked all the boxes. This is easy. And you wake up the next day, you're like, I really don't want to do 2 miles. And then that bitch voice starts seeping in, right? Mm-hmm. Dude, you only did one day, you can start over. And then I made it through the first 2 meals of the day, no problem. And then I got to around dinner time, and I was like, pizza.
That's why they don't call it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's a local guy in town that's doing his own spin called 30 versus you versus 30. And he gave credit to Andy Frisella. And it's pretty... it's just 30 days. It says 75, but there's a lot more to do. And I'm like, good Lord, I don't know if I can keep up with all that.
Yeah.
And there's I think 11 things. But it was cool. I mean, it's a good blitz. Yeah. So, 75 hard's it, man. I want the T-shirt.
What I really like is the Shepherd's Challenge.
Yep.
Yes.
That's where I was going.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, that's a good segue. That's where I was going next. So the August Shepherd's Challenge, just so you guys know, is a gallon of water a day. You got a 45-minute workout, and it has to be outside. Okay? Tornado, you got to work outside. It's one workout a day, 45 minutes, guys. Like, figure it. Wait till the tornado
ain't
goes
gonna
away.
last all day.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Oh, God, hopefully not.
Even
If you're
it
a real
rains all
badass,
day.
you'll just do it with the tornado in the background and take a picture.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
right.
Yeah, I'm down. That'd be cool.
Get a selfie stick.
Raining, 45 minutes outside. You know what I'm saying? But
hailstorm.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. It's one workout a day. Figure it out. 45 minutes, get done. So, and if I'll be honest with you, it did rain on the very first fucking day. So I was like, oh, perfect. This is great. So
Running in the rain's awesome, though.
it honestly feels good though. It cools you off. Like it really not that bad. So 45 minutes outside, gallon of water. Honestly, I've started with 8 water bottles a day. It was easier for me to track because I would pack 8 bottles in my cooler. Couldn't mess up the count. JP recommends the gallon jug.
I recommend the gallon jug, and I recommend putting progress marks on it. And call yourself out in different ones, like you ain't done shit yet, blah, blah, blah. And then towards the bottom, like, encourage yourself. Like, work towards the stuff like, dude, you're a freaking beast. When you got that much left, and you'll kill it.
Like at the top, it's don't be a bitch.
Yeah,
and then at the bottom, it's like, you're the man.
You are the man. Just do
the middle's probably like,
you're
you're peeing a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
How's this bathroom
Just
smell?
think about how your water bill went up.
Oh, jeez. All the flushes. So it's clear I'm not flushing.
Yeah, I just pee in the tub now.
Exactly.
Right.
It's clear I'm not flushing.
You don't have to worry about it.
If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. Right? That's the whole motto. Right?
Yeah, I don't. If it's brown, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about poop.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord.
Because
Dehydrated.
Maverick doesn't care either way. He ain't flushing.
Oh,
You walk in there and you're like, what? Oh my god.
Little nuggets.
Thanks for the
waiting.
present.
You know who's in there.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Yeah.
You got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
It's
He
so
does,
funny.
man. He got to hop off the toilet. He's ready to go.
It's so funny how limited their attention span is. It's like they're just so focused on all these other things and
It's insane.
just going.
He gets some of that from his dad, though.
Yeah. Finn does the same thing, man.
So back to the Shepherd Challenge. We got the 45-minute workout outside. Doesn't matter what the weather is. Either do it in the weather. Look, honestly, if you're a true shepherd, you're probably looking forward to doing it in the bad weather. You got the gallon of water. You got to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. No Harry Potter, no Lord of the Rings, no Game of Thrones. Sorry. You have to do something that's entrepreneurship based. We have a book list that is badass on the Shepherds of Men website, shepherdsof.men. Check it out. And then, of course, what I'm missing, guys, is one more thing.
The thing that you wanted to
What
be.
you want.
There you go. So then
thing.
there's a level of accountability. Everyone has their own goals. So add your own. Add your own power play is what we're calling it, right? Your own action item, however you want to refer to it. You get to pick one thing that you got to do every single day that leads you to your goal. So if you want to add another workout, add another workout.
JP, that was cool. You said you were starting a journal, which you're the second person that recently mentioned that to me. Something I did years ago and haven't done it in a long time, but you said that this evening, and I was like, man, somebody might be trying to tell me something.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes back to, kind of goals. One of the things that we do right now is obviously we speak and we take this very seriously. And there's a lot of times where I'm sitting in bed at night, or I might be reading a book or something and go, because I don't read books just to say that I read 10 pages. And if you're just starting out, do it like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just read 10 pages for the sake of reading 10 pages. But you'll get to the point where you start reading it to apply it to your life. And then you start to make your own interpretations of what you're reading. And that's when you really start to grow personally, because you start to create your own reality from what you read. And a lot of times I write things down, especially things that are just kind of like perplexing. And some of it might be just questions that I want to ask you guys. I want a different perspective because I think of it in a different way than you guys do. Sometimes it's like we've talked about before. When it comes to networking, I mean, who knows? You might be sitting down waiting for something, and you might be sitting next to the CEO of a major company that's been a really successful guy, and go, "Holy shit! Hey man, there's a couple questions that I was kind of that I had jotted down previously that I was thinking about, and then you solidify that stuff in your mind." So for me, that just made sense for me.
I want to go back to the book thing real quick because I want to add one, and I know y'all won't care if I add it. Not necessarily add it to the website just yet, but I just finished Sean Whalen's book, How to Make Shit Happen. Dude, I'm telling you, the book's like $6, number one, and it is gold. And I got it and I opened it and it's like written like a kid's book, like it's big, huge font and a lot of words on each page. It's just like he is. It's super simple. It's direct. It's not any like crazy deep thought process, but it is very straightforward in your face. And he talks about this thing called Core 4 in there that is a really, really productive foundation for your life. I mean, it is money. I would recommend everybody read that book. It's really good. You're welcome, Sean.
Oh, yeah. He needed it.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. He's taking pictures of Donald Trump Jr. the other day. He needs me to plug him, yeah.
Right.
I listened to a podcast that he was on. Actually, it was the podcast that, Wilson, you shared in our group.
Yeah.
And I listened to that while I was on the treadmill that day. The very first day, 175 hard. And, dude, that guy is something.
Dude.
He's awesome.
It was an eye-opener. I really learned
really,
a lot
really
about
good.
it.
I just love how real he is and doesn't really give a shit. He knows he's going to get flack. He's going to get a shit ton of flack, and he doesn't flinch.
He's funny as hell, too. Did you see, like, his new gears coming out? Like, they're, the line's not sheep stuff. We got a couple of their shirts.
Yeah.
And there's new, like, halter tops for girls. Well, the model is him on the beach in a halter top with, like, an American flag Speedo on.
Right?
Like, it's just hilarious. Like, he just doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't, man.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be, though.
Yeah,
he should.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
He's just got a very strong self-image.
Yeah.
But
No,
he's
that's
very well. Anyways, it's not all about Sean, but it's awesome. It's another guy you should listen to after you listen to all our stuff.
Would you say that anybody could probably pick that book up and walk away better for it?
100%, especially for $6. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Just bought it.
Good Lord.
I'm going to buy one for everyone on my team.
I'm telling, and they can, and honestly, most people could read that book in one or maybe two sittings. It's just not.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I've got a
my kind of
meeting.
book.
I've got a meeting next Friday, and one of the key players on my team actually found another job. So we're retiring his jersey, what we're calling it. So I got shirts made, the back name on the back, and we're gonna hang it from the ceiling.
Nice.
So he was a key. I mean, we built a brand new team, right? So
love it.
it's just something cool. I don't know. I pride myself in doing things that other teams don't do.
Oh,
you know,
for
and,
sure.
That's great,
and investing
man.
back
That's
and
cool.
stuff like that. It's just I don't know. It'd be cool, and It was cool is, we do that bad axe of the month. So I have that fucking awesome cruiser axe that they sign their names on each month for the top seller. So he won it in his last month. So he's coming back for our meeting mid-month, and he's gonna sign the axe and say everybody. So it's pretty dope, man. Nice. That's a hell of a way to drop to drop the mic on.
Yeah.
But that being said, I want to go ahead and get started in this. I don't want to take forever. I want it to be pretty impactful, and I think there's a lot that, at least what I'm planning on talking about today, I could squirrel. We could end up somewhere completely different, but I want to try to stay on track as we can. Fatherhood equaling leadership. What's the difference?
Well, I mean, anybody can be a father, right?
Right.
I mean,
that's true.
I think anybody can be a dad,
Anybody
but
can
not be a father.
Right.
Well,
You're right.
that's
Or vice versa, however that goes.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah. What I would consider a father, you're correct. It takes effort, but being a dad takes 30 seconds.
Right.
On your end, takes
One
9
evening.
months for the mom.
I was about to say that's a really long time.
30 seconds.
You should probably talk to somebody.
It's called efficiency, bro.
I think they got ointment for that.
Oh man,
Numbing
right.
or a gel.
That's great.
I can't feel a thing. Oh my gosh, she's like me either.
Oh,
Jeez.
That went downhill real fast.
man.
So
Yeah.
back to being
Speaking
a good
of
example
squirrels.
and a father.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to share that. I'll have Candy share this episode with Dina.
No, there's definitely a difference between the two. But I mean, there's also, you can also be both.
Right.
You can be a father and a leader. I think that's probably the direction you should go, in my opinion. But you could also be a father and a manager, which might not necessarily be a great thing. Some things need to be managed, like maybe finances to a degree, or certain household things or whatever. But I don't think you need to manage the hell out of your kids. And I've been guilty of that in the past, trying to manage my family, and it's not healthy for anybody. Leading's a lot better way to go.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think a lot of the principles from leadership can be applied to fatherhood to strengthen your legacy.
Yep.
To be completely honest, there's a lot of we spend a lot of fucking time if you're working your way up through the ranks in your company. You're spending a lot of. There's whole days the company of like when you're in a leadership class all day, or if you're just getting there. Some have a whole week of leadership training because they want you ready to be able to lead the next generation of whatever you do. So what's funny is we have 9 months to prepare. Full accountability, full glass house here. I didn't prepare for shit. I was nervous. I was turning 21 while Candy was pregnant. I didn't have a damn clue what was coming. And then it was like, you're having a little girl. I'm like, I'm dead. There's no way, dude. My first kid's a little girl. God. And you think about, we hear all the horror stories with just ladies in general. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to prison. Like, it's over. Like, it's it. 18 years. I don't even know if it's going to be 18. It might be 13. Shit, I don't know. Whenever it's, But, you have all these thoughts going through your head. But I'm 21, and I didn't, my dad was a great provider. But it wasn't like, I didn't know to go to him for fatherly advice, So, dude, like Wilson said the other day, flying by the zipper of your whatever it was.
Oh my God,
I'm messing it up on purpose, but
flying by the squirrel of your yard.
No,
something about
something about your
it.
pants.
something about your pants are flying.
Flying like
weird.
a lead
It was
balloon.
dumb.
Are you telling me there's a party in your pants?
Flying
Always.
squirrel or something. Yeah.
Pants party.
Yeah.
It was a pants party. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I forgot
I'll
to
go with
say. I almost forgot to say. It's an honor to sit at the table with myself.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
I'm a big deal.
I'm a big fan of myself.
Hey guys, be on the lookout for "I Love Me" T-shirts. Shepherds of Men coming out.
amazing.
It's all about me.
I'm in honor. That's what I'm gonna make one of those.
I'm in honor.
I actually
big
refer to
deal.
myself as Your Honor
Right.
when I'm talking to myself in the mirror about how good I look.
That's amazing. No, when I was editing everything, I cracked up so hard.
Self-love is a good thing.
That's
it's a good
true.
thing.
That is true. Self-affirmation, stuff like that.
You should. You just don't have to tell everybody else that you love
right.
it.
Yeah,
You should absolutely love yourself. You should absolutely love yourself. Do not take that wrong.
Chris is not buying it. He's like, I don't know if I agree.
Just don't tell everybody else that you love yourself.
I don't see the problem.
I do not. I think that you should be very confident about yourself.
You should.
And that's okay if you want to voice it every now and then.
But that's the difference between cocky or confident and cocky or
Oh, for
arrogant.
sure.
Like if I go and tell you, you know what, I love me. I'm a bad motherfucker. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah. But you
I'm
should.
bad, dude.
But you
Like,
know
I
now.
love me.
Now you know.
I might tell me, but I don't feel the need to tell you. I'm gonna show you.
So I think this solidifies that the next episode we're going to talk about swagger, but humility too.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that.
No, I like to have fun. That's all it is.
Yeah, man. No,
we're busting.
it's
your
hilarious.
nuts,
I
dude.
know.
Yeah, we're just busting your balls.
So
But,
back to time spent.
well,
so
so-
how much time? That's where I'm going with it, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
how much time? 0. Right now, Eric, that was 7 years later almost. Yes, there was preparation there. You know, not nearly as much as work, which is funny. When you start thinking about it, how much time do you spend at work learning how to do things, and how much time do you actually put into learning how to be a better dad, right? So, I mean, honestly, how much time did you guys spend preparing?
Well, I mean, I asked a lot of questions. So I was like you. I was freaking like out of my element here, you know, just very nervous, very fearful of not being the father that I need to be. And I think if you go into it and you have that type of initial thought process, in a sense, you're on the right track because you're really caring about being a dad. You really value it into a point to where you're like, I'm going to be purposeful in becoming a better dad or good dad. I asked a lot of people, and funny thing is, well, the crazy thing is there's not a lot of guys that I talk to that gave me good, solid advice. That most of them was like, "Oh man, you'll just figure it out," you know. And
That's code for my wife does everything.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take it a point to where I had to literally learn as I went. And unfortunately, there was not a lot of prep because I didn't really know where to go to find the prep. You know, honestly, I asked some people. They gave me some advice, a little bit of stuff, but it was like, you know, shut up. But once I had my son, and they were right. Most of the guys that actually said, yeah, you know, you're going to figure it out when it comes. Don't stress about it too much. It's, you know, there's only a few things that are wrong with the child. I mean, either they're hungry, they've got a dirty diaper, or, you know, something, they got gas, you know.
In the beginning, it is pretty low maintenance for guys.
Oh,
right?
for
The
sure.
ladies
Yeah.
have a much larger role as far as it goes. Now, we step in and help as best we can, but in the beginning, it really is the moms that kind of take control there. And I think there is an element of a natural aspect to it, where it's like, you know, some guys get it, you know, just like some moms just take like, I never wanted kids, you know, like so I've heard all the time, I never wanted kids in my life, and then like 9 months later, like they're best mom in the world, right?
Yeah.
And it just happened naturally for them. So I think there is an element of instinct that kind of takes on. Mm-hmm. But I mean, JP, I mean, Cam, how much time did you guys prepare?
I mean, I didn't either, really. I'm now okay. So when I got married, I had it was a package deal, which I always talk about. Like I got a twofer. You know, I had my beautiful wife, and then I had a 7-year-old stepson. You know, so I went from being single to being married with a kid in 3 months. You know, and it not for any other reason, but we wanted to get married. So but that's different, obviously. I mean, he's already 7. I mean, there's a lot of developmental years. There's a lot of no diaper changing at that point. It'd be weird if it did. But I got to learn a little bit about playing the father role some more. But then when it came to, you know, my 2 kids, especially my first kid, Owen, I don't know. Like I think now that maybe I should have spent some more time trying to study up, I guess. But then there was also a part of me that was just like, you know, we're gonna roll with it. Like stuff's gonna happen. We're gonna figure it out. I did have faith in the fact that I had some pretty good role models with my dad and my grandfathers, you know, and I figured, you know, maybe some of that shit stuck, you know, and like I'll be able to pass it down or whatever. And then with Cash, you know, I think it was more like, okay, now I understand how that first year or 2 goes. Like I get what the kind of the general things are that you need to know. Yeah. And then Cash ended up just being a loose cannon anyway. So it was like nobody could prepare for him.
Yeah,
like
I feel the same way about Eric. There's like this just I don't think there's enough.
God himself is still going, wow, I created that?
Yeah. Sprinkled a little too much of that. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. If we can harness that, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but it's true. Like when you were talking about this topic, like I honestly haven't really thought that much about that. But I think it really is important that people do, because I've spent a lot of my life preparing for running restaurants, preparing for building logistics companies, preparing for building home improvement companies, for e-commerce companies, for doing this. You know, I've spent a lot of time less than JP, so just I'll default to you, but there's been a lot of times in my life sporadically where I've, into health and fitness and want to do those kinds of things, but I've never really, or just leadership, like just personal growth and all those kinds of things, which I think the personal growth side of it certainly lends itself to being a better father. I 100% agree with
absolutely.
that. And the social skills and things like that you can develop. But I haven't just flat out been like, I want to study how to be a badass dad, So I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what that looks like, to be quite frank.
I'll be honest. I really don't think. I would say maybe 2% of people probably go, you know what? I'm going to learn how to be a badass dad. I think before the kid's here.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Exactly.
Now, after your son or daughter comes or whatever, like obviously there's a thing like I want to learn how to help.
Well, you
her,
fail
right?
at certain things and you realize, okay, I don't want to fuck that up again. Like,
Wow, the kid fell off the couch. My bad. We won't let that happen again.
Right.
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
We'll do our best.
But JP, I know similar to me, you started pretty early too. Was there any?
Yeah. So I mean, full transparency. Obviously, my first child is with a woman that I'm not currently with, and it was at a young age too. So a lot of that had to do with there was a lot of things that were convoluted with that and clouded in my mind about what was going on. Obviously, I wanted to be a good dad. I kind of grew up without my blood father in my life and stuff. So I already knew. As far as what I was concerned, that I would be a father figure, in my child's life. Now, kind of fast forwarding to my other kids, I don't think I necessarily prepared for any of it. To be honest with you, I more so solidified who I was and what I wanted, because there's certain principles for me that were like, honor, integrity, and respect. The worst thing in the world is somebody that is completely disrespectful. That drives me nuts when people are disrespectful. So for me, one of the things was I had to scale back the authoritarian kind of thing. Like I'm looking at Nash going, "You're not going to be disrespectful and cry in the middle of church." And Dana's like, "He's 2 months old."
No, he's a grown man.
I don't care. We set the expectation young.
Yeah, exactly right. No, but in all reality, it was very macro for me. It was very high level for me. It was like, how will we define ourselves? Now we'll figure out the details on the way. Because it's something that we're going to have to determine. Obviously, it's something that's going to be important to the proper execution of developing this little embryo that's heading this way. But outside of that, it was very, very much so macro early on. And I would 100% agree with you that a lot of people spend more time on things that are less important than being a father.
That's true.
Well, I will say I agree with that 100%. I'm glad you brought that up about the macro thing, because I do believe that I am far more concerned or focused on my kids' attitude, the way they treat people, different things like that, as opposed to little detail, minute crap. Like, right. I don't care. Like, some of that stuff is just not, and they're different personalities, so things are going to be a little different, But as long as we're kind to people, we love people, we have a great attitude, we respect people, like you talked about. We walk with our shoulders up and our head up. I mean, I spend way more time focusing on that than, what's the exact proper way to hold a fork,
right.
or whatever, And that's kind of a silly example, but it's the truth. And one other side note though about what you said that is not really off topic, but maybe. But you said your biological father wasn't really in your life when you were young, and that for you created a mindset of, I know what I'm not going to be.
Right.
And it turned you into being a great father,
right,
because of the adversity of that.
Right.
And I just want people to hear that, because I think there's so many people, especially in the culture that we live in now, that are so quick to jump on, that's why I suck at things. And it's because my dad wasn't here.
That wasn't, understand too though, that was not a resentment thing. Like, mad at my dad because he wasn't around, so I'm gonna be a good dad because I hate my dad. That's not at all the case. It was a matter of, I knew what I needed that I didn't have growing up, that I can supply for my children to where they don't have that gap in their lives.
I just wanted to mention that because I think there's so many, and not just in fatherhood, but like in so many things in the world right now, people use whatever crutch to justify, slacking or being lazy or whatever. And it's because of where I grew up, or it's because of my dad's not around, or it's because of this, or it's because of that. Yeah. And I get it, and to a degree, there's certainly things you got to deal with, but you need to deal with them and be what you can be, because there's too many examples. Like, I mean, just you alone. Like, look, that's a great example of somebody that came from not an ideal situation. All three of y'all, really.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to say that on the caveat to that, I mean, the same thing is you could choose to take that and say, okay, this is what I'm not going to do. I'm going to be involved. Or if you're going to make a promise, like I had my dad, not to blast him or anything, but he would promise me that he's going to do something and not follow through with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to myself that if I'm going to say something, my word is my bond. Now he's more like that. He wants to be. He has all the what is it called? The intention. Yeah. But then he just let anything just get in the way sometimes. And me, I'm like, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm either going to be dead, not making it, or something that I could not control for real.
Unless I got to cut the grass, I might just be late.
Well, yeah,
I might be late, but I'm there.
Yeah, but it goes back to there is no good excuse if you know better.
No,
and that's in my opinion, that's just the way that I look at things. And you can sit here and bitch and moan and cry about your situation, your past, and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, you own your present and you own your future. And if you blame everything on your past, then you're missing it, bro. Like you there is no good excuse when you know better. And that's why I'm a big proponent. I talk to people because I know we're talking about kids, and I'm not. This is not a degrading comment, so please don't take this as degrading. But people that I mentor specifically, like through my job and stuff like that, like I tell them all the time, like understand, you hire for attitude, you train for skill. I don't give a fuck what you're capable of. It's your attitude that I care more about. Mm-hmm. I would rather have a driven individual that has a really good work ethic and a great attitude, and I can teach you anything I need you to know.
Ed Milet put out a post. I just read it earlier, and it was like almost exactly what you just said. Not that you stole it, but I'm just saying it was that thing. It was like there's 4 things that I need from someone that I mentor, and it was basically I got a good attitude, work ethic, I show up, whatever it was. He's like, the rest of the shit I can teach you.
Yeah. Well, see, I talked about that at work all the time because I have my superiors come to me and they're like, hey, what do you think about this guy? My first question is always, how's their attitude? What do you mean? How's their attitude? Did they come across as an optimistic, like go-getter kind of individual? You know, are you dinging them because they don't have a master's degree from MIT?
Right. Because
it's bullshit. Like, to be honest with you, I would take guys that have work ethic and I could teach them everything somebody knows at MIT. They maybe just didn't decide to go to MIT. Maybe there's some things in their past that didn't have that, but they've got the attitude that they need to do it. So that's one of the things that I want to instill in my kids, and it's one of the things that I talk to Maverick about and Braylon about specifically. Nash isn't old enough yet to have the attitude talk, but like it's constantly who controls our attitude.
We do.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You're right. You do. So you own everything from this point on because you know better and there's no excuse. If you know better, there's no excuse. There's no good excuse.
And this ain't podcast talk, guys. I've seen this dude do that firsthand, and he'd get down on a knee and tell his son, like, hey, this is what it is all about. And whenever he says those things, he actually does it. That's why I respect all of you, that you all are men of your word. And we do the same thing at our house, man. It's like, look, hey, who are you? You Wilson? Right whenever he starts to break down and try to pitch a fit or whatever, I'm like, is that what you are?
Yeah, I've seen you do it.
No. And that's not how we roll. And then you've got to put those things in place. As a father, you got to steer your ship. You got to steer them in the right direction, and you're going to get to that later. But go ahead, Cam.
No, that's great. I found the post that Ed Milet. If you don't follow him, he's a great guy to follow. But he says top 5 things I look for in someone I mentor. Number 1, integrity. 2, courage. 3, toughness. 4, desire, and 5, work ethic. And then under that he says, I can teach the rest.
That's that, and that is 100% on point.
Yep.
A lot of that boils down to attitude and work ethic.
Well, it's your core character. Yep. You know, in leadership and fatherhood and all that kind of stuff, it's all about just a simple few basic core values that you hold on to and you teach it and you instill it. And even in leadership, I mean, you can't. If you're in sales, you can't lie. If you're a liar, it's gonna come back around. Everything that you do, karma's real. I believe it 100%.
It's just stupid.
It's
you're gonna end up. You're
stupid.
You may get that quick sale, but you're gonna lose the money with time. In sales, time is money.
Yes.
So if you lie, now you have to go back and fix it, which takes more time. So all that work you just did in the beginning, or didn't do. You lost the profit on it, so you're dumb. Integrity is everything, especially in that, because that you need to treat it. If you're in sales, treat your customers like clients, not quick sales, and you'll be better for it, and your business will be better for it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of corporations out there that can learn a hell of a lot from mom and pop businesses that have been around centuries or even 20 plus years. You know, they are still around because they treated their customer. That's a different thing. We're getting off track. So we can get on that, a different thing. But so time spent learning leadership. So we've all admitted, and if you guys listen to what you said, there was a lot of personal growth stuff that you guys dug into, principle-based personal growth that you were able to learn yourself and apply to your children, right? We touched a little bit on the open-ended questions. We'll touch on that here in a little bit. One thing I wanted to talk about are the 3 different types of leadership. And, you know, I think everyone's seen the meme of the guy behind the desk going like this, and like the team is pulling the desk with chains and stuff. And then you have the guy that's like in the front and he's like calling them on. But there's one more type of leadership, and that's from the side. So you have leadership from the rear, like I said, leadership from the front, and you have leadership from the side. Now, there's a video I'm gonna look through my phone and gather here in a minute. But tell me what you guys think of is the most effective. Actually, my phone's dead. I didn't. It's awesome. So I want to share this video on our social media though, because it is freaking awesome. And I remember it because I showed Candy last night.
Send it to you guys in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, if you've got it, we can play it.
All right, let me see if
It's
I
in
can.
the
You
link.
keep talking.
I've been on the road all day. So you know you have 3 types of
I hear
leadership. Yeah. So
Cry me a river.
yeah, look, I get it. It's new. It's a new thing for me.
I know.
So leading from the front, the side, or the rear.
So I would argue that it's about balance. I don't know if one is more important than the other, because for me, when you lead from the front, that's when you set the example of what your expectations are or what you want emulated, right? So when I want Maverick to live a healthy lifestyle and work out and things of that nature, I take him to the gym and let him ride his bike. And I don't tell him he's got to work out. I don't force anything on him. I let him watch me work out. And now the kid wants to work out. Right. That's a good example of I lead from the front. I don't tell him anything. I just do my thing and let him see the results from it, which creates what I want him to emulate. Now that's a tough one because you got to live it. You can't just talk it. You got to live it. Now, from the back is the best way, in my opinion, to teach. When it's time to teach your kid how to do something, or it's time to teach your kid, how to progress, or whatever it is that you're working on, from the rear is the only way to do that. I would rather. So here's a great example. Maverick came to me about because he wanted his training wheels off his bicycle.
Awesome.
I handed him a wrench. Take them off. I wasn't going to take them off. You take them off.
That's cool.
This is your bike. This is your decision. You take them off, and I sat back. It was an opportunity to teach. It was an opportunity to let him do it himself. It's just like anything. Like even on a computer, you can go in there and somebody can tell you how to do something in some software or something like that. But until you do the clicks, it doesn't solidify, right? So the action has to be taken by the individual. You have to lead from the back, and then I think from the side is also just as important but you have to understand when to stand in the positions that you stand in, because in the side, for me, is when you go into battle. It shows equality. You are no better. Your life is no important. My life is no more important than yours. We are equals, and we're going to go together in this, arm in arm. And I think it helps with like engagement, right? When you want to truly engage with somebody, you come up and you sit next to them. You don't sit in front of them. You don't sit behind them. You sit next to them. So if we're going into battle, we're going in with arms locked. If I need to engage with you on something, I'm going to sit next to you as an equal. So I think those are the 3 different aspects. But I think if you have the ability to balance those and understand when one is necessary and the other isn't, that's when you really start to make magic happen.
That's the most important thing.
That's the key. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is knowing when to be in which position. And I think about we've all seen that video about the Olympic runner who like pulls a hammy or whatever, like right out of the gates, and then his dad comes down. I get chill bumps thinking about it. His dad comes out of the stands and literally runs next to his son, holding him up to finish the race. Like that is one of the coolest things ever, and that's when his dad knew I need to be beside him. Like that's how I'm leading right now, is beside him. But he knows, there's been times in that. I mean, that's an Olympic sprinter. That's a solid dude. There's probably been times in his life that his dad needed to be behind him, pushing him a little bit, or even protecting him from the rear. Or there's probably times young, like what you're talking about, getting out there and running and letting his kid see it so he could lead from the front. But at that particular moment when his son was broken to a degree, he needed to be right next to him, right? And so developing a awareness of what's needed in the moment is probably the most important thing, but they're all critical. By the way, I did find that video. in our group, and what I just realized, I didn't even notice this before. It's the title of it is "Be a Shepherd."
You're kidding.
No joke.
Isn't
That's
that cool?
dope.
No joke. So, badass shepherd on
When do you want to
TikTok.
play that or keep adding into?
Yeah, I wanted to give everybody's opinion on that. So I think both of you guys are right that there are certain times to play that position. I even baited you guys in the beginning to think that leading from the rear was bad.
You do that a lot.
I do. I love it.
I was
I just want to see how I love the combat there. So I love the controversies.
Well,
Go ahead. Wilson.
just like JP was talking about, there's a time and place for everything. And just for my son, being a father for him, I want to foster independence. I don't want him to be dependent on anything, but also I don't want him to be so independent that he doesn't like getting help. So there's a fine balance on that too, because I don't want him to think that he has to do everything all by himself.
Correct.
So you gotta, in each and every single situation, just like, and I got to get better at that too. I mean, I'm growing every single day being a dad. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's really enjoyable, and it stretches you the most, because it's your son or your kids are going to tell you the truth to the world. So I mean, if you're not living it like what you're saying, it's going to get out. And that's the pretty cool thing is that, we lead from the front to show the right example of what it is to live a good life or be a good person or be a person of character and integrity and all those things. You have to show that. You can't just speak it. Speaking from behind, telling them just go do it. I think a lot of people have a different perspective on like a whip type of deal from behind. Yeah. And it's not really the case if you're really doing the right type of leadership. Leading from behind in this video you're going to see is that you're steering them at the same time. You're involved, you're engaged, you're actually paying attention, not just going, bam, go get it, and let them go. And it's okay, you could do that in some cases, just like how, JP, you were talking about, just do it. Just go after it, make it happen, see what happens, and it's good to foster that. But at the same time, you want to make sure that, you're leading them and saying, oh, you're about to fail. Just like the bike ride we did the other day. We were riding and I was encouraging my son and I was riding beside him saying, hey man, we got it. I was leading from the front, just saying, hey, follow me. And then I was following him behind, which was grueling. He was super slow, but he's learning. And then we go down a downhill, and he wipes out because there's like a little turn at the end. And I was like, I said to myself, I was like, shit, I forgot to tell him how to turn.
Also important.
He's just going.
The problem is Finn leans to the right, so he wears out that right training wheel. Well, we took a right-hand turn at the bottom of the hill.
And he just wiped out. So I didn't
Not
tell
a good
him.
combination.
Yeah, I didn't tell him to lean into it. He was leaning out of it, and I just saw it in his face, and he wiped it up. And dude, he was a champ. He kept on going because we instilled that. But if not, most people just baby him, coddle him, and just be like, no, you don't have to go anymore.
But that goes into lessons for anything, though. And in fatherhood, I think this is incredibly critical. And I'm glad that you brought this up, because this is something as a father that you need to understand when to utilize these different positioning techniques that you have. But even, you brought up the bicycle thing. Maverick was coming to me, and Maverick was like, why is Finn going so slow? Why does Finn still have training wheels? And I said, hey, listen, instead of complaining about the fact that Finn's going slower, he's got training wheels, why don't you go ride next to Finn and talk about how much fun it is to go fast and stuff like that, and encourage him. Right. Kind of thing. And he did. And he went over there and popped up next to him, was riding with him and stuff like that. So it's something that you have to instill. And it's never too early to start teaching your kids how to position.
Yep. Well, and that's, again, not just in a fatherhood role, but just, I'll give you an example similar to this where my buddy Phil, my neighbor that I've started working out with recently, he stretches me, dude. This guy, him and his twin brother were like these dynamic wrestlers, like Greco-Roman wrestlers, and they're just badasses. And so from a fitness level, he far surpasses me, but he's also been a good example and helped me get better. And he likes to run. I don't like to run, but I'm running more than I ever have. But we went for a longer run the other day, longer for me, 4 or 5 miles. But there was times where I needed to stop for a second. Like I needed to slow down or walk or whatever. And instead of him just leaving me, he walked too. And I told him, I was like, dude, I appreciate you not just taking off. He's like, man, honestly, that's not helping you or me. So, and then there was times where he was stretching me. Like towards the end, it was like, I'm not walking with you anymore. I'm going to pull you. And he would take off. And so he was leading from the front. Well, I got to do that same thing with another guy we work out with today, who normally can outpace me, quite frankly, but I was feeling good today, and I was all doped up on rhodiola. It's totally legal. It's really good. And he wasn't, but we got to do the same thing. I got to pace with him sometimes, and then towards the end, I was dragging him. I was like, come on. And it was literally like, the key at the end was this. This is a secret. If you want to know how to finish a good run, you got to pull up your music, Spotify, iTunes, whatever you do, and get We Ready and just play We Ready.
Yeah.
And, dude, you will finish strong. I promise you.
Or you pull up a timer.
Yeah, or
That's
timer.
what I always do.
Or timer.
I always pull up my timer.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So go ahead and play the video, and then I'll kind of wrap that section up.
Okay, I want to say one other thing before I play the video.
Yeah.
With something we haven't talked about yet, and I was thinking about when JP was talking. We've talked about front positioning, side positioning, and rear positioning. Two places we have not talked about leading from is the bottom or the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and the reason I want to mention that, I don't believe that a true leader hovers over or is above you, right? That's not true leadership. That is maybe manipulation or dictatorship or whatever you want to call it. And that could be from man to man, corporate level. That could be father to son. It just ain't going to work. The other thing that I think is really important for everybody to understand is you don't lead from the bottom either. In other words, your kids do not run your house. Okay? That is not leadership. Making sure that they're happy every 5 seconds is not leadership. That is not raising a man. So I just wanted to.
Can you say that again? For the people
Yeah.
For the people in the back.
You're not.
So play it from here.
Yeah.
In the front.
Play it from here in the front. Okay, I'm going to play video now.
I'm going to add to that.
Go for it.
The biggest thing is when you said this, and it just made a lot of sense when I heard it. You know how you hear those truths, and you were talking to your son, you were educating him because there was a situation. You're like, look, son, I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm here to be your parent, your father. And there is a difference because a lot of people out there and a lot of guys out there are falling in prey to this. And same thing with the wives. They think that they have to be their kid's friend. No. If you're going in that mindset and that attitude, you are missing it.
If we can become friends, it's great, but that's not my primary focus.
That's like
Raising
later.
you.
Right. I don't need you to like me. All right, we're going to try this.
Don't be afraid to get out of the way. Horses teach a pretty great example of leadership within their herd dynamics. Male-dominant horses are called stallions. They lead the herds. And when they do so, they lead the herd from the back by pushing the herd along. Keep moving them. I want to show you how I use those same dynamics as a parent. Oftentimes we're told leadership happens from here. Only problem is my head gets in the way of his vision. The head and ego can be a major obstruction. But when we really understand the power of leadership, we can change the position and lead from back here. From here, I can encourage my son forward. Go forward, man. And I'm not in his way. But at the same time, while he's moving forward, I can see out in front of him. And I can guide him if I need to. Leading in love from behind means I get to see out in front of him, protect him on the side, protect him on this side, and I get to guard his back, while never obscuring his view and his vision and opportunities for life. No matter which way he turns, as long as I keep the same position, he gets the same benefits of love and leadership. Parents and leaders, don't be afraid to get out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's at BA Shepherd if anybody wants to check that out.
Yeah, it's outstanding. And I like that. We see time and time again. If you're like, I used to watch a lot of Discovery Channel. Wolves are phenomenal creatures, and learning that about horses is interesting too. There's a lot of animals where the leader leads from the back, and it's from a protective stance because you can get the best view of your pack. So I think leading from the rear in that aspect is key. So riding bikes with your sons, it makes more sense for you to be in the back, right? From a protective standpoint, they fall, you can see them fall. If you're in the front, they fall, you could be half a mile down the road and you can't see them, Or there's so many different things. So you want to see, toward the back. When I'm eating at a restaurant, I will sit farther back so I can see what's going on. If shit hits the fan, I'm flipping this bitch. We all hide behind it. I promise you that.
Oh yeah.
So, but
That'd be like Jesus up in the temple up in here.
yeah, correct.
Right.
But it's incredibly important. So that's when you lead from the rear. So when you're at work, leading from the rear is not always the best way to do it, right? You don't want to go, hey man, go get that done. Hey man, drive. That's not the way to make an impact in a leadership role in that sense. Leading from, I'll let you go here in a second, JP. So leading from the side, like Mr. Shepherd says, where he is, it doesn't obscure his vision, right? When you're from the side, I'm with you, like you guys were talking about. We're going to battle together. When you're riding the bike next to your son, right? Showing them, you can still show them what needs to be done from the side as you do it together. Most people, like you guys were talking about, I can teach people as long as they have the right attitude. The best people learn when you do it with them, not for them, right? Now, leading from the front, it is important to set an example, and I think that can be done from the front. But we also went back toward, we talked about From the bottom, obviously from the bottom is different, but leading, hovering, right? So doing it for them all the time it could be a form of leading from the front. So that's incredibly important that you do not always do things for your kids. It's important, yes, to lead from the front, set a proper example, but don't do shit for them all the time. Like Josh said, the perfect thing. His son wanted his training wheels off. How did he solve that? Here's a wrench, right? Now, Maverick could sit there all day trying to get that shit off his bike, right? But that's okay. You know what that teaches him? For one, it's going to teach him how to get that thing off, or it's going to teach him to ask for help when he's struggling. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of men out there that won't fucking do that. Okay? Mm-hmm. That, I talked to one of the people I ran across today, and it was a phenomenal conversation. We talked about meeting people. Well, today I met a counselor, and I was in Cleveland, and I told her, I said, the very first time I swallowed my pride and went and got therapy, and we talked about how hard it is for guys to ask for help. You want to know why I think that is? Because our parents did shit for us for so long that we didn't need help. They didn't make us ask for help. Yep. Make your kids ask for help. That's okay. They will be stronger for it.
We say it all the time. If my kids say I can't, we don't use that word. If they say it, we immediately correct them. Say we don't say that word. We say I need help. Mm-hmm. There is a difference between I can't and I need help. I can't means come do it for me. Mm-hmm. I need help means I'm about to learn how to do it for myself. Yep. We did it right before we left the house today. Cash was upstairs. For whatever reason, the last few days, he goes upstairs to the bonus room, and he gets to the top of the stairs, and he says, I need help getting down, or he says, I can't get down. I'm like, number one, yes, you can. Yeah. Number two, you need to ask for help. Number three, I ain't helping you. You know how to do it, right? And we literally sat there and argued for a minute, and I was not walking up those stairs, and I think that's exactly what you said. A lot of parents, and not judgment, but where you're failing is you're like, we're in a hurry to get out the door, so it's just easier for me to run up the stairs and pick him up and bring him down. It's not easier for me. It's easier for me right now. It's not easier for me in 10 years when he's a pussy because I did everything for him. And that might be a little strong, but I'm telling you, some people think, there's no correlation. Bullshit. There's a correlation. Stop doing everything for your kids. I get fired up about that stuff, man.
All I heard was that might have been a little truthful.
Yeah,
yeah. I've seen it firsthand. I mean, in the house that I lived in, the difference between cutting up a child's steak for them when they turn 14 years old,
right,
and another one being told at 10 years old that they had to take care of the house because the chores need to be done, things need to be done, figured it out, vacuum the floor, do whatever needs to be done. But a couple points on what you were talking about that I really liked. You said something about, you should really be behind your child when you're riding the bike. And then, beside your child, probably those two positions more so than anything. And that really goes into truly understanding what the definition of the position is and what the effectiveness of the position is. Because if you sit behind your child, it's a protective posture. And you can watch your child work and get his balance and do his thing. Now, if your kid's got his balance, he can ride a bike and stuff like that, then maybe it's time to switch to the front and show your kid what a real man does on a bike. Mm-hmm. But if you switch to the front and every 5 seconds you're looking back, you've killed the position.
Mm. Yep. Yeah, that's powerful.
You have killed the position. So that's where you've really got to understand that kind of stuff. Now, on the side is one of those times where, if your kid's trying to figure things out and stuff like that, and he needs some motivation, he may need a little bit of encouragement. I think that's huge. So another thing you said, about working in the workplace, the reason that adage about an individual sitting behind with a crack in the whip that's the leader doesn't work in the workplace is because the people that work for you don't need you to protect them. There's no reason for you to be in that position.
Nope.
That position is for protection. That position is to sit back and watch and make sure that your herd is protected. You don't need to protect your herd in that kind of environment. You either need to lead from the front or you need to find out that dude's not making quota. Maybe he's got some problems. Maybe you need to sit next to him and say, hey, dude, what's up, dude? What's going on, man? You good?
Yeah.
And that'll mean more than anything to him.
Yep.
So I wanted to touch on a couple of those points because I thought that was really cool, kind of how you made that analogy and you made that visual, with that. And it really makes sense. It's really all about when to use the position. And what I wrote down real quick was from the front is to do, from the rear is to protect or teach, and then from the side is to support.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
That's why I held you up.
I try to think like you.
I didn't want you to steal my shirt.
No, you said it more eloquently than me. But I was just gonna say it kind of the same thing, but different verbiage. Was just like from the rear they're learning, from the front they're growing, from the side they're hurting.
Yep.
And that's why. And
that's
you
a
play
great
those
way to put
roles.
it, too. Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Something you said about can't. Like, so there's Candy is Eric's obviously expanding his vocabulary.
So is Maverick.
I have a colorful language, so he and
I gotta tell the story when you get done.
So Eric will call me out if I use colorful language, and which is cool. It's funny. I'm like, I'm dad. Okay, chill. One day you'll be dad, and then you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And he'll sit there and he'll be like, "Hey, Dad, is crap a bad word?" And I'm like, and I'll look at Candy, and Candy's like, "Yes." I'm like, No. Can't's a bad word. You can say crap. You just can't say can't. But if because he's starting to understand, I can say this, but I can't say this.
Right.
And he tests the boundaries some more. He'll be playing and singing or building Legos, and he'll be like, "This piece of shit." I'm like, "What'd you say?" He'll be like, "Nothing."
Lego.
Yeah, Lego. Yeah. I'm like, "You motherfucker."
Seeing if you're listening.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something I think it's important. With our kids, many of our boys are 4 or 5 years old, and except for your youngest. But the majority of our boys are around the same age, and they're Eric's starting to test that boundary. Is this cool to say? Is this cool to say? And I think it is important because he's getting to where he's starting to clean up after himself in the restroom, right? And he's having a hard time, and he's real hard on himself, which I'm actually kind of excited about because I vibe with people that are hard on themselves because they learn quicker. In my experience, people that I've dealt with, if you're not toxic, hard on yourself, but you use it to learn.
Right.
He gets real frustrated. I think he's an engineer. I'll be honest with you. Legos, like he has to know how things works. Yeah. But he can't figure out the whole wiping situation. Dad, I don't want poop on my hand. I'm like, wash your hands, dude. He's like, oh yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, but what about the poop?
Yeah, wash it. But it's in the sink. I'm like, it's okay. It'll wash that. You can do this. But he'll be like, all right, I'm done. I'm like, you got it. I can't. Nope.
Yeah,
that's a bad word. Remember, he's like, Dad, it's not a bad word. I'm like, it is a bad word.
I need help.
Yeah,
it is a bad
no.
Yeah, it's challenging, Dad. You got me.
Wow, nicely done, son.
Yeah.
Well done.
Attaboy.
You're learning fast. So on the way up here, this is cracking up. On the way up here, we got the kids in the back. We're riding up. My 5-year-old goes, is my nose bleeding? And I put the rearview mirror down, I look back, I'm like, no, buddy, why? He's like, because I just pulled this big bloody booger out. And it's like this I'm like, dude, how are you breathing? Like, it's massive. This is Owen. And Cash looks over there and he goes, damn. he's 2. And me and Tanya both were like, what did he just say?
That's awesome.
And he used it at the appropriate way. Like, I mean,
Man. That was we had the same thing. We pulled out of Kroger and I turned real fast to get out because if you've ever drove on Church Street in Murfreesboro, good Lord, it's impossible to get out of there. But
you could just take the light. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's no fun. So I pulled out of Kroger and whipped it real quick and stuff. We all kind of like went to the side and stuff. And Maverick's little car seat leans over and then tips back and he went, well, shit.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's
he walked into the office today, and I heard Dina go, "Maverick, get out of here!" And I walked in. I was like, "What was he doing?" She's like, "Your son has got a potty mouth." I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because he walked in here and said, 'damn it.'" And I was like, "Did he use it in context?" She was like, "Perfect context." And I was like, "It's a learning opportunity, but at least he's learning."
That's true. He's using it properly.
That's right. That's a sight word for you.
Oh, jeez. So we covered the positions, which is extremely important. I'm glad we spent more time on that. Open-ended questions. You guys, you both touched on that, JP Wilson, where JP, you asked him, who controls our attitude? I believe is what you said, right? Mm-hmm. And you asked, what was it was about your last name.
Is that who you are?
Yeah, is that who you are, right? Mm-hmm. And it makes them, and they're young, but it starts to build that character, starts to build that principle. Like, I'm not a baby, you know what I'm saying? I don't cry about stuff like it, but it starts to seep in. And there are a lot. I think that when we look at our kids, and there is an aspect of they're only 2, but they're always learning. Always. They're like, dogs are like, they're just a dog, but dude, there's dogs that can climb walls on a snap of a finger. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And it's not to compare humans to dogs, but 2-year-olds.
Please don't. They're not the same. They're not the same. I don't care how many of them you got. They're not the same.
My black shepherd's pretty sharp, but. except when she gets the fucking garbage. She needs to stop doing that.
And there you go.
So Eric does it too, so I don't know. She learned it from somewhere.
She gets in the garbage because Eric keeps eating all her food.
True.
Hey, you're not wrong.
Dog food and milk.
So one of the things with that, I love that you brought up the open-ended questions and stuff. I don't want my kids to just learn. I want my kids to learn how to think.
Yes.
It's one of the things that drives me nuts about. And if you're a memorizer, then don't take this personally. I have never understood the concept of memorizing shit. Now you'll memorize shit based off of repetition. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going into it with the expectation of memorizing things, I've never understood that. I've always had the intention to understand, and I think maybe that's probably where the engineering side of things came, because when it came to math and different things of that nature, I wanted to understand how shit worked rather than memorize how it worked. I had zero interest in memorizing how it worked. I wanted to understand how it worked. So a lot of times, like with Maverick and Braylon, you know, I'll ask them, you know, what do you think? Like, it'll be a tough situation. They'll be like, you know, either I can't or I need help or something like that. And I'll go, well, what do you think? Well, I mean, I don't know. And then they'll give me an answer, and I'll guide them through the thought process that it takes to actually start to think about stuff. And then when they do figure it out, that light bulb comes on.
They just hear it. Yeah.
Well, you talk about
dude.
victory. You talk about victory, man. Like, I mean, and the training wheels were a great example of that. You know, he had to ask me for help because he didn't know how to do that. He's never used tools before. I mean, he has, but like kind of kiddie tools and stuff like that. But he was using some real tools, breaking some lock nuts loose and stuff like that. And as he was going through it, he was asking me, he was like, well, what am I supposed to do? It won't break loose and stuff. I said, what do you think you should do? Kick it? Try it.
Yeah. Did that work? Or your foot hurt?
It's a good way to start.
Yeah, try it. You know, and that was the thing, and walking through it. And once he got those off, man, I'd say you couldn't tell that kid nothing for 5 minutes. You couldn't tell him anything. He was the man.
Yeah.
That's another dose of that medicine we were talking about last
That's
week.
right. That's right.
Come on.
But I love to teach
Children's.
my kids to think. That is the biggest thing, because you want your kids to dominate. Just teach them to think.
Yep.
And they will dominate the freaking world in the next 20 years, because
true.
everybody has forgotten how to think, and everybody's forgotten how to have a conversation with people.
Well, everything you see is taken, like many people, I'll say, everything they see, it's automatic truth. Like, there's very little people that will go seek it, right? So it's like, oh, that's got to be true. It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. It's on the news. It
Good
must be real.
Lord, yeah.
I'm kind of guilty for that on some cases. I'm like,
Some.
that looks
Couple
really
hundred.
good.
Yeah.
Look, I'm telling you, I just turn it off. I'm like, what good is this doing me right now?
Yeah.
You know, from an emotional and focus in the goals, yes, change need to be made. Besides my voting, there's very little I can do. Like, seeing something that pisses me off is just it's going to distract me. Facebook has been such a distraction that I've just been like, I got an alert. Somebody do something. No, it's a group message. Dope. And I close it. I'm not sitting there. There's zero good in scrolling through Facebook anymore. It's ruined. Every single election year, it's like, I'm getting off.
Yeah.
You know,
It's pretty
I
negative.
know what I need to know about who I want to vote for, and that's that. You know,
You know what's cool is one of the byproducts of what I've been doing with my boys intentionally by trying to teach them how to think is I've been finding myself asking myself the same question.
Yeah.
What do you
love
think
doing
about that? Like, and I will literally ask myself that. I'll read something and go, well, what do you think about that? And I'm like, as long as I don't start arguing with myself, we're good.
Oh yeah,
We're in good
Should be
shape.
good.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but I'll look at it and I'll go, what do you think about that? Oh, this is what
How does that make you feel?
This is what I
right?
think about it, yeah.
How does it make you feel?
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Yeah.
And what's your opinion on this? Stuff like that. I'm big on that. And you know, Mia's getting to an age now where she can critically think. You know, well, she's been that way for a minute, but she's a pretty sharp kid. But it is to that point now where I do like that.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked about this in the past, where, you know, if you compliment your kid on something, be intentional, right? Compliment. Don't just be like, hey, you look pretty today. Tell them why, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important too, is solidifying that message. So use open-ended questions, right? Help them self-discover things, or allow them to self-discover things, because that will sink much deeper than you going, you know what you did wrong? This, right?
Yeah, right.
You know what you could have done better? This. You know, it's okay to ask them, well, what do you think you could have done better with that? Or how do you think we could do this better next time? I love that one. Well, how do you think we do, you know, me and Eric will sit there and build for a minute. And I'll be like, well, how can we make this building better? And I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, but it makes him think, and he responds, you know. And Mia was showing me some of her art, which is freaking outstanding. blew me away. She's got like 3 sketchbooks. She's like, yeah, check this out. It's outstanding. Super talented.
Nice.
So, and I'm like, I love that dude. I'm like, dude, that robot's jacked. She's like, well, it's just the type of arms, it's from an anime and all this. I'm like, hey, that's freaking sweet, dude. Check this thing out. And I like the teeth. There's like 1 million teeth in this one, but it was cool. You know what I'm saying? We started breaking it down and telling me how she did it and stuff. And I was like, what do you think? Why this one's bad? I said, well, how can you make that better? How can you redraw it now and do it better? And get her thinking about different techniques and stuff she's learned from YouTube and stuff. But that's super important. Like, man, have in-depth discussions with your kids. It doesn't matter if my kid's 4 and we build Legos and it's the most gibberish, weird stuff we talk about. But it's the most fun discussions I think I have. I have these discussions at work with my employees on how to get better at their job. Why can't I come home and have the same exact discussion without the stress behind it on how to build a better freaking Lego house or how to draw something better or how to accomplish their, what do you want to accomplish? You ask people at work when you're sitting down doing like a quarterly thing, right? It's like, what are you trying to accomplish, man? What do you want to do here? How many people have that discussion with their kids?
Yeah.
What do you and it's not what do you want to do when you grow up? Because that's a super vague question. You're fucking 18. You don't know what you want to do when you grow up. You probably just want to get laid this weekend, to be honest. Let's be honest. When I was 18, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to college for something, but hopefully I get laid and maybe get some beer. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't ask me, I want to be an aerospace engineer. Yeah, fucking right. Like, how many years of college I got to do for that and how much money that costs? I'm good. The paycheck sounds great, but that's what I told my 8th grade teacher. I didn't know what I was talking about. I want to work on airplanes. Fighter jets are dope, I have no idea. I want to go home and watch Dragon Ball Z on Toonami. I don't know. But if you ask them, like, what are you trying to do? I'd ask me. I said, dude, you have like 3 or 4 months off. What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? Let's start something. Let's start basic. You want to beat a video game together? Mm-hmm. You want to start a book series? She's like, I want to learn how to play guitar. So let's look at lessons. So things are a little bit different because it's at a distance, right? So it's a little bit difficult. They can't be more hands-on with them. So we're probably waiting a little bit on that. But she's 10 now, so you can take voice lessons. They'd say to wait till 10 to do voice lessons. Her voice is gorgeous. Kid's gonna be singing for sure.
Nice.
And she got the whole art side of the family. Mom can draw. There's some singing on one side of the family too. So she got it all of it. So it's crazy. I'm excited about that one. Of course, Eric is just a ball of, I don't know what he is. So he's just he's a Tasmanian devil. It's red. So I'm pretty excited about that too. I think there's going to be a lot of confrontational stuff that he'll be able to get into that I'll be able to release with.
Conor McGregor did pretty good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. So, but it have those in-depth discussions with your kids. Make them, like Josh said, make them think, man. Use their brain, because there's not many people that, well, I'd say they were the silent majority, are probably the thinkers nowadays. They don't let their emotions take over. I think there's people that are raised to let their emotions run them, and I think there are people that are raised to let their brains and thought and facts run the game.
One thing I would disagree with, I guess is maybe not the right word, but I don't think they're raised to think emotionally. I think that's a lack of raising.
Yeah.
That's why we have a culture of
You're right.
emotional decisions.
It's probably
Yeah, you're
more
right.
experience
Well, they
than
let
anything.
their parents led. That was the example.
They
their
led from
parents
the bottom.
gave. Yeah. Oh, for sure, dude. For sure. Yeah, they didn't get their way, so the parents immediately made it right, or make it right, made it wrong. Whatever you want to call it. But
And you're not intentional. You don't teach your kids how to think. You don't teach them how to do anything. So they when they get older, what do? They make emotional decisions because they haven't learned how to discipline their mind.
I was not. I mean, I was growing up. My mind was not disciplined. I was very rash, and it took me a long time to beat that out. A long time to beat that out.
Well, if you don't do that with your kids now, understand that it's going to take time and effort. And it, just like anything else that's good, it's going to require time and effort. Just like O said, it takes time. And stop coming home from work and going, man, I worked my ass off today. I deserve to sit on the couch and drink some beer. Because the fact of the matter is, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with Maverick sitting on the recliner, and just talking. Like, I don't have to be consumed with Netflix or whatever it is that you watch. I can sit there with him and have a conversation about thought process and about how he thinks about stuff, and asking him questions and open-ended questions and things of that nature. And you know what's crazy is your kids will start to like you more.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They feel like you're listening.
I'll have Mia come downstairs because she's very hermit, so she'll stay upstairs and do her thing all day. We won't see her for dinner. Boom, right back up. And I'm like, so when I get home from work, or she was actually awake this morning, so it was cool. I got to tell her have a good day, stuff like that. But one thing I love doing is like, I missed you today.
Oh yeah.
And give them that
especially for a girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that's
No,
because I know
that's-
for my wife that's a big deal to say something like that. I would imagine for a daughter that would be huge.
I'm trying to skip out on the daddy issue thing, so we're trying to make sure.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be a good thing to skip. That'd be a good thing to
Just trying to miss that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's making them feel, you know, I don't want to say making them feel important because that can be taken the wrong way, but it's making them feel. 1 second, Wilson. It's making them feel. How could I ramble?
We'll catch you on the next episode.
Somebody needs to give
It
him
makes
a
them feel
buzzer.
important. It makes them feel important.
It makes them feel important. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the right kind though, right? It's
Yeah.
not like it's not a. They are important, right? They're your,
I need
they're
a
your
bell.
kids.
I do need
Yeah.
a bell.
Ding. Yeah.
Ding.
Like the Family Feud thing.
Well,
you
I'm just listening. No, I'm just listening to all you guys. And I mean, if you boil down fatherhood and being the dad that you need to be, it boils down to being intentional. You got to be intentional if you're going to have any result in your life. If you're focused on something that you're chasing after work, you're intentional about it.
Yeah.
If you're focused at being a good dad, you're intentional about it. Period. So the magic word tonight is intentional.
Yeah.
Being intentional about what you're trying to accomplish. And hopefully you are paying attention to your kids. It's good to value them. I mean, when they talk to you, man, look at them and say, yeah, dude, that's cool. And not just be like, oh, yeah, that's awesome.
And it's
be vague about it.
it's tough to do sometimes.
It
You know,
is.
because we all have long days. You know,
yeah,
we're
we
not
do.
perfect. There's times where I'm like, yeah, that looks cool, buddy, and he's like, look at it with your eyes, Dad. I'm like, fuck, you're right.
Man, that hurts.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But you know, you're
Called
catching
out.
yourself. You're like, because I'll be like, I gotta get this email done. Do I really though? Or
Right,
can I look at my kid's Lego contraption he's made? You know, and I catch myself, and it's like I start busting my own balls. Like, dude, you gotta slow down.
Well, just talking about you being intentional and things of that sort. And being a glass house, you know, we're not perfect. And here's a prime example. Last night I was putting my son to bed, and he likes to read books. We read a book every single night before he goes to bed, unless he falls asleep beforehand. And we were reading, and I catch myself wanting to read the book and get it over with and get him to bed. And he was wanting to talk and say certain things, and I'm like, dude, I'm ready to read the book, and I cut him off a couple of times, and then at the end I started thinking in my head, I was like, dude, he's really trying to talk to you or say something. So it was kind of like, you know, just just to explain to everybody else, is like I also have to be intentional in those moments where I want to rush it because I'm tired. I want to rush it so I can go to bed and he go to sleep. Those moments are crucial for those kids' development because you're taking the time to listen or reply or whatever they're engaging you with, and it's very important to do.
But at the same time, your kids should feel important, but they shouldn't be a singularity in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Understand your kids should understand very, very, very clearly that your wife comes first.
Yes, amen.
Please understand that and I'm sorry, but you can disagree with me all you want to. I can't stand when I see people saying, oh, well, if your kids aren't your number one priority, then you got something messed up in your head. No. If your wife and God, if you believe in God in this country, aren't your number one priorities in life before your children, then your children don't have a shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. Your children don't have a shot. When your kids see that your wife is number one, that will turn your child into a good human being.
Yep.
Because they'll understand how to treat a female. If it's a
Well, it's the filter. It's not like, and our pastor has done teaching on this before, where it's that hierarchy, not hierarchy. Somebody will think of the word I'm trying to think of, but you filter it through those things: God, country,
Priorities,
family.
yeah.
And so people think, well, you're putting this above this. Well, yes, but because I'm putting this above this, I'm indirectly
right.
doing what I need to do
I'm
here.
adding more value.
I'm
here.
adding value to my kid because of how much I value my wife,
Right.
because of how much I value my country and keeping it pure, because of how much I value my creator in my case.
Yep.
You know?
Have y'all ever seen the movie Failure to Launch?
Yes.
You know, whenever he's finally getting out of the house, the wife looks over at the person who's doing the deal to make him get out. She looks over at him and is like, I don't know what to do with my husband because I've never been alone without him. It's always been about this guy or the guy she's been talking about. So if you put your kids over your wife or your spouse, that's exactly what you're going to have at the end of it when they turn 18. It's like, hell, I don't know what to do. I don't even know who you are anymore. I mean, we've changed. This has been 18 years.
Yep. Now, man, the worst thing in the world that you can do is go tell your wife to stop putting your kids in front of you. Don't do that. Like, just lead this. This is one of those examples
example.
where you
Yeah,
go
lead
in
by
the
example.
front.
Yeah.
Good
And
point.
this is a
That's a
front
good point.
positioning here. So don't go tell your wife, hey, you need to stop putting the kids in front of me. You just make sure that your wife understands that she's more important than those children
Yeah.
and that those children are very clear on that pecking order. Now, that doesn't mean that your kids are not important. Your kids are insanely important. But your wife is just a little bit more insanely important.
Yeah.
in
Well,
the
look,
household.
when it comes down to it, your kids are just a season of life.
Right.
Right. At some point, they're going to leave, and now it's just you and her.
Yep.
Right. And you got to figure shit out now.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully you did cultivate a good relationship through this season of your children.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, good luck, bro.
Yeah. And if you disagree, try it for the next 10 years and prove me wrong.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I said, it's okay if they disagree. Let's compare children when they both turn 18.
That's right. Yeah.
And see what you guys are going to be doing with my kids.
Ooh,
I always
yeah.
heard a mentor of mine always said it's important for my kids to see me kiss my wife. And I believe that big time because that's just showing love. They're seeing love, you know. And there's some other things behind that are important to see the husband kissing the wife. It's important.
Yep.
So, guys, I want to go ahead and wrap up because we are going a little long. So just fatherhood equals leadership. There really isn't a difference, right? It's just different settings. That's really what it is. It's called leadership at work. It's called fatherhood at home, right? Fatherhood is leadership. It's leading your family. So be present. Lead. Spend time. Learn how to be a better dad. Invest in yourself. We talk about personal development all the time. The best way for you to be a better father is to learn your own lessons and where you stand. Who are you, right? What can you learn to make your children better? We've talked about family brands before. Like, who are you? Who are you, right? So remember the positions, right? And not sexual positions. Wilson. So
Wilson said, damn it. We only know two.
Yeah,
No, that's leadership.
They're like
right there.
rabbits.
Kama Sutra, man.
Lord have mercy. Focus.
missionary only. So no. So remember front, side, rear, and remember the Jesus Christ.
We lost everybody.
Yeah.
That's a really bad way to follow up positions.
So we hope you enjoyed the first
Yeah.
90% of this episode.
exactly.
There really was some good content in here.
Lord.
And there still is, just depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not a father yet, positioning does count.
And here's how to be one.
Oh, jeez. So front, side, rear. Remember the benefits and rewind and go over the benefits again if you need to. From the front, from the side, from the rear. Remember to use open-ended questions. Self-discovery. Let your kids think for themselves. Have open-ended discussions with them. Okay. Allow them to make mistakes. Allow them to fail. It will help them discover their weaknesses and allow them to attack them and get better on their own, with you leading from the side in that instance, showing them how to win. And you can do it from the front too. But guys, thank you for joining us. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys are enjoying the video that we have now up on YouTube. YouTube channel is live, so make sure to check that out.
Go subscribe.
Yes, so we're trying to get rid of that alphabet link that we've got right now for our URL. We need 100 subscribers. We definitely need your help with that. If you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, please hop on YouTube and don't only subscribe, but click that little bell so when we have new episodes that come out, you guys are the first to know about it. So we appreciate you guys so freaking much for helping spread the word with the Shepherds of Men. Thank you for listening. This has been The Movement.